What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can become a member of the Elite Fleet. And we got to do a reaction here to Megan Hall, a.k.a. the Thought Cop, a.k.a. the Choo Choo, because she got a train ran off through you. Got a train ran off through her poop chew. Got a chain ran off through her coo-coo. Nah. But seriously, we got to do a reaction to this. And I want to do it full screen because I want y'all to see the look on her face. Because this whole situation is going to prove several things I've told you guys before. 1, women never take accountability. Okay? 2, women can lie with a straight face. 3, all right, women don't give a damn about making themselves look bad if they're going to drag you down with them. Now, this woman wants to sue, and her whole damn thing is, oh, okay, well, I was groomed, I was taken advantage of, I was manipulated, right? And I'm going to play an interview directly after we're done reacting to her interview, where she literally contradicts everything she's going to say in this interview. Everything she's going to say in this interview. So it's ironic and it's funny, man. And I want to break this thing down. And it also proves another point really quickly before we get into the reaction, which is I told you guys, you got to be careful with white women. I know I'm talking about white women, so I know people are going to get upset because for whatever reason, you can talk about any race of women out here, but you start to talk about the white women, boy, people get tight. Ironically, especially them coons start coming to defend they snow queens. You use a chance to talk about the white woman like that. They start running in, getting upset, but we're going to talk about it because I told y'all, white women will cry victim. They will cry grape. They will cry assault. If a situation happens and they do something with you and it starts to embarrass them, they're going to say you took advantage of them. You made them do things that they didn't want to do. Essentially is what they're going to say. Okay, I'm trying to keep the language YouTube friendly here because for some reason they can say certain stuff on news channels, but I can't say it. But either way, I've warned y'all about that with white women, and this is going to prove my point because she only decided to come out and even say that she was groomed and taken advantage of after the internet tried to make fun of her for letting them run a choo-choo all up in her coo-coo and her poo-poo. But that's neither here nor there, man. Let's get straight into it. Y'all know I don't like to waste too much time. So let's do the first part of the reaction is to her claiming now that she was groomed and taken advantage of. Then we're going to go back and talk about what she was saying before she became a viral internet meme and before she got embarrassed and decided to change her story and play victim and said she was taken advantage of, as I told y'all that women, especially white women, are prone to do. Let's get into it.
Of sexual misconduct rocked the Laverne Police Department. 5 officers and the police chief all fired.
One of those officers, Megan Hall, became the face of the scandal and the target of nationwide ridicule, and she's now filed a federal lawsuit.
Tonight, in an exclusive interview with our Nick Barris, Hall describes a toxic workplace behind closed doors and how sexual misconduct spiraled out of control.
Megan Hall was 24 years old when she was hired as an officer here at the Laverne Police Department 2 years ago. Her plan was to have a career in law enforcement. She now knows that dream is likely over.
I remember...
It's her fault. All right. So first of all, let's start right here. Look at this thing. This thing right here, right, cost 5 men their jobs. 5 men their jobs because of this thing right here. This thing with no upper lip. Where the hell is the front of your lip? She ain't got one. All right. So it's probably like a cheese grater getting the BJ from this woman right here. All right. And if you go back, I want to show you guys something really quick. I want to go back just a little bit. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 people of color. Does this not tend to remind you of Emmett Till? Does this not tend to remind you of Rosewood? You got one Hispanic right here. I think there was a white dude who was caught up in this who for some reason they don't have photoed here. But my point is, and this is something else. I told y'all this video is going to prove a lot of my points. You see all people of color, all minorities right here, potentially about to go down with a federal court case, all for trying to sleep with that snow queen because the snow queen got embarrassed. I've also told you guys several times, white women are some of the nastiest women in America when it comes to what they will do with men. Again, this video is going to prove a lot of my points. But when it backfires, if it gets out, if it starts to embarrass them, they're going to throw your ass under the bus. Federal charges for all 5 of these brothers and my good old Latin king over here. All these minorities in trouble over one no upper lip having white girl who looked like she'd been sucking on lemons all day. But let's continue.
While interviewing for the position at Laverne Police Department, they described the environment as a family.
So y'all was a family, all right.
While I was aspiring to protect my community, the Laverne Police Department was not protecting me.
By now, most of the...
You servicing your community. That's what you was doing.
knows what happened. Hall, 4 other officers, and the police chief were fired last month. This after 2 separate investigations found that Hall engaged in sexual activity and or shared intimate photos and videos with several male officers. The chief and 2 sergeants were among those implicated. Now Hall and her attorney, Wesley Clark, are suing those 3 supervisors and the city in federal court for civil rights violations.
Oh, Lord. She's only charged. Of course, she's only charging the brothers. Look at that. Alex tried to warn you. Y'all don't listen. She's only charging the brothers because she knows she got the best chance of taking their ass down. She got the white woman tears charged up. All right. Only Johnny Depp has ever defeated white woman tears. So hopefully these brothers can get out of this, but it ain't looking good for them. Let's continue.
That, like a rookie cop, to be trained and promoted.
She got trained, all right. Can get that choo choo. Let me get that beep beep. Running your hands through my fur hole. Well, they was all bald, so.
As a piece of meat to be sexualized and exploited.
Since the story broke, Hall, the lone female officer fired and only woman on the second shift, became a target nationwide for sexual jokes and taunting.
I received harassing and threatening messages.
She should have been teased. She was being a thought and got caught. That's what happens. Now, no one should have been harassing her or threatening her. But at the end of the day, what the hell does that have to do with those 3 brothers or the goddamn city or the police department? Nothing. Sue the people who was threatening you. What you suing the brothers for? But let's continue.
On my phone daily. I felt like I had been terrorized.
And yes, now she is suing. No criminal charges have been filed in the case. Hall knows there are those who will say she was a consenting adult who willingly participated.
So she's not going to file criminal charges. She wants to do a civil lawsuit so she can try to get some paper out of this. Unbelievable. So you smashed the whole goddamn crew, and now you're going to sue the damn city and make them pay you for being a thought. Unbelievable, the world we live in. But let's continue.
In sexual antics in violation of police department policy, and that now she wants to blame others, including one sergeant who targeted her early on.
I know what most people are saying. You know, you could have said no. I get it. But my response to them is that I did say no, and he wouldn't take it for an answer.
Now, I want y'all to pay attention to that. She said she knows people are going to say that she could have said no. But her response to them is that she did say no and he wouldn't take it for an answer. Timestamp this for me because it's going to become very important when we go and play a damn interview before people started roasting her on the internet. Because all this is about is her reputation, which I told you guys and I'm going to tell you guys again until I get it through your thick-ass skulls. If a white woman's reputation starts to go down the gutter, she is going to take you down in the gutter with her. That is what she's going to do. She's going to start saying, oh my God, he took advantage of me. He raped me. He manipulated me. He groomed me. She's going to do that every time. It's the same playbook. If you know it's coming, it won't work. But you brothers be so thirsty to go and play in the snow. I know we dealing with global warming, but y'all be so damn thirsty to go and play in the snow. You ignore it all the damn warnings. But let's continue.
Eventually, I gave in from pressure.
So it's not as easy to say she could have just said no.
She did say no on several occasions.
Okay, look, you see? They're doubling down. She did say no. Again, keep that in your mind.
Paul tried to get out of this relationship, and she was not allowed to.
Hall concedes she participated under duress. She's not saying she was raped, but adds that the salacious details made public of sex on the job put her alone center stage and do not tell the whole story.
They isolated.
Well, you were the only woman on the shift. And not just that particular shift. Now, if you're going to say this was such a toxic environment, such a toxic workplace, how was it that the women on the other shift managed to go there and not be thoughts and cheat on their husbands and get trains ran on them and sleep with the whole goddamn co-working staff, if it was such a toxic workplace where there was so much pressure put on women? How is it that the women who came before you were even on that staff, Miss Rookie Cop? How is it that they were able to get through without having to get smashed by all the homies? But I digress. Let's continue.
They shunned me. They accused me, and they blamed me for becoming a victim.
Hall suffered from depression to the point of considering suicide, and at one point was hospitalized. She felt trapped.
My supervisors worked together to take advantage of my vulnerabilities and my mental health. And they used it for their gain and sexual pleasure.
And that included the police chief, Chip Davis.
Okay, now listen. She said after the ordeal, she became so suicidal that she had depression and she went and checked herself into a hospital to get help. Then she says that they took advantage of her vulnerable state and her mental health. When and at what point did she indicate she had a mental health problem before any of this happened? I'll wait because I didn't hear it. I heard she checked herself in after all this happened. But now she's claiming she had a mental health issue before any of this happened. I digress. Let's continue.
The independent investigation found he was aware of what was going on and even received intimate photos and videos of Hall.
Who do you even turn to when the chief of police is sexually harassing you?
Your husband? The officers on the other staff? The lawyer who you have right now?
How could I get justice when the entire system, including the chief, not only condoned such behavior, but participated in it?
Well, I mean, you're doing it now, right?
Lost, and I felt alone. I had no one to turn to, and I had nowhere to go.
Hall now realizes her career in law enforcement is likely over, and she knows those ugly memes on social media will remain forever. Her reputation sullied.
No woman.
What did I say? This is all about her reputation being sullied. They just said it without selling it. That's what all this is about. She got embarrassed, so now it's, oh, they took advantage of me. Which is the card they are always going to play. But white women, more than any other women, I'm not saying no other race of women will never do it, but I'm talking about ratios here, all right? The ratio. Statistics show white women, more than any other group of women, if you put them in a situation where you embarrass them or you sully their reputation, they are going to drag your ass down. They are going to say that you took advantage of them. They are going to claim that you groomed them. They are going to claim that you assaulted them or whatever they got to say to take your ass down. They ain't going down by themselves. And again, this ain't my opinion. This is statistical fact. They are the most likely to do this.
Have to endure this type of abuse. What happened to me during my employment at Laverne's police department, it should never happen to anyone.
Hall now hopes to put what happened to her here at the Laverne PD behind her. She is married and says she has a strong family support system and says that it was her faith that helped carry her through the turmoil.
Oh, my Lord. Not you using God's name in vain. She done put Jesus in it. Jesus ain't got nothing to do with you being a thought. You're committing adultery here. You're married. You notice in this whole video, she ain't saying nothing about her husband. Not a word. You could have at least brought up the stress to your family. She ain't saying nothing about her husband this entire time. It's just me. Forget about you. I gotta stop speaking in songs. But seriously, she done brought up God, Jesus. She left out the Buddha. Maybe if we would have had more time, she would have brought up the Buddha. What does any of them got to do with you out here sending news to your coworkers? Now, wait until y'all see this next video and y'all see what she admitted to doing. Matter of fact, let's go to the next video right now. Hang on real quick. All right, guys. Now, this next video is important because what you're about to realize in this is her interview before the memes came out, before her reputation got sullied. All right, this is when she was telling the truth. Behind closed doors, before any of this blew up, she wasn't even fired yet. I want you guys to listen to this because I want you guys to see how much it contradicts what you just heard her say. Because again, I want you guys to understand. I remember one time, and this is the gym. A woman said to me one time, she said, well, just because you allow someone to do something to you doesn't necessarily mean consent. And I said, excuse me? And she's like, by the law, Just because you perform a sexual act with someone or y'all have a sexual encounter, it doesn't mean that you consented. You can remove consent. To which I said to this lady, I know that you could do that by law, but I do not agree with that law. I think that law is bullshit for various reasons, because how can you go to bed with someone, they're fine going to bed with you for that night. You have no idea how they're going to feel the next day. You have no control over how they're going to feel the next day. So the fact that you can even make a case that you woke up the next day, thought about it, and decided that you were groomed, taken advantage of, raped, or whatever the case may be, and put a charge on somebody is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I would think that any woman who agrees with that, that's a red flag. Honestly, any woman who even knows about that, that's a red flag. Because why do you even know about something like that? Of course, this is a woman who hangs with white women. Go figure. I'm not being racist, guys. I'm just telling y'all the truth. Go figure. Of course, this woman hangs with white women, grew up in a white environment. That's why she's saying this. She's like, oh, I'm not saying that I agree with it. I'm just saying. And she wasn't even talking about a man. She was talking about another woman. But my point was, women are aware of these laws, guys. They're very aware, especially white women or women who hang with white women, that they can lay down and let you beat their cheeks. And if they decide randomly later, for whatever reason, that they weren't okay with it, or that this isn't working in their favor, or that they're embarrassed, or their reputation's ruined, or whatever, they can just come back and say you raped them, you groomed them, you took advantage of them, you manipulated them, you assaulted them, and that they can build a case. They're aware of this. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. And again, this isn't me being racist. Like, this is me being real. Like I said, I could come out here and talk about any other race of women and nobody has a problem. So white women are not excluded. They are the number one queens of doing this when they don't get their desired result. Now, watch this. She's going to talk about her first encounter with this police chief. Watch how different it is than what she claimed in the other video about what happened, about how she was manipulated and taken advantage of. And she said no, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. Let's get into it.
Can you tell me about an encounter you had with him before you were an official officer at your house?
Yeah. So,
Now, she had an encounter with this man before she was an official officer at her house. But this is someone who supposedly groomed her. This is someone who supposedly took advantage of her. This is someone who she supposedly told no multiple times and wouldn't take no for an answer. But it only gets worse from here. Let's continue.
was when me and B were together, hanging out. He met us at Chili's in Murfreesboro. We all got some drinks. We went back to my house. We were hanging out for a little bit. Jed came home. We started drinking. Ty wanted to try to get Jed to have a thing with all of us. We played strip Uno, and then when V went out onto the patio with Jed, me and Ty kissed for a little bit, and then that was it.
Now, they played strip Uno. Ty told her that he wanted to try to do a thing with her and Jed. And then when Jed went out onto the patio, she kissed Ty. At no point did Ty force himself on her. At no point did she mention any grooming. And at no point, and here's the big key, did she say no. But it only gets worse from here. Let's continue.
That you were involved with somebody's wife.
Making out, but as far as...
But that was this, that you had talked about a threesome.
Right.
Y'all had made out.
Me and Amy,
okay.
We kissed, but
okay.
There was no...
Didn't go any further than
bags
that.
in it, no.
Okay. Okay.
Look at that. He's like, well, are they aware you were married and all that? She's like, oh, well, you know, me and Amy, we kissed and nothing but that. Now she's talking about Amy. I want you guys to remember that before she was talking about Ty, but now she's saying it was Amy. This girl's a habitual liar. And she doesn't care about her marriage. If you don't bring it up, she'll never bring it up. She will never bring it up. She moves as if she's not married. It's ridiculous. But let's continue. Because like I said, it only gets worse.
So, is that when your husband came in and saw you guys kissing?
He wasn't even home then.
Okay.
Now she went from he was on the patio to he wasn't even home then. Just like she went from, oh, I was making out with Ty to now I was making out with Amy. Habitual liar. But let's continue.
No, when that happened, when Mags was like right by us, and then on the couch, Mags was like, if y'all start making out, maybe Jed will get into my husband, into the idea. And when we started making out, Jed was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there was a conversation the next day about, I thought Jed was down for this, and you were like, yeah, no.
Yeah. I thought me and my husband have had a threesome before, so I didn't know if it was gonna, like, I didn't think he'd have an issue with it.
Got it.
Okay, so her thing is her and her husband has had the threesome before, so she didn't think she had an issue with it. Which is interesting because if that was the case, one, why didn't you just outright ask him about it? Two, why did you wait until he's on the patio to go and start making out? Three, why did you have to be convinced to make out in front of him to see if he would be okay with it? But four, and here's the important thing, we've yet to hear her say no to anything. As a matter of fact, the only no that we've heard in this confession before social media, before her reputation got sullied, the only no that we've heard so far is her husband saying no to letting her get smashed by this man. That is the only no we have heard. She's yet to say no this entire time. She wanted to have the threesome. She wanted to make out. She actually expected him to be okay with all of this. At no point has she said no. At no point has she expressed she wasn't interested, what she was taken advantage of, or anything. But it only gets worse still. Let's continue.
Weight room. I got a report that you gave him a in the weight room.
She gave him a BJ with those cheese grating lips. And listen, here's the thing. White girls usually are good at head, which kind of goes against biology because it's like how with no lips. I guess it's because they have long necks. So it's probably fire, you know, but it's just funny to me because I think when I look at her and her lack of lip, it's just a damn cheese grater just grating the hell out of your damn skin. Talking about slurping you up. But let's continue.
You made out? You didn't give him a...
Now I want you to pay attention. He said, I heard you gave him a BJ. She said, oh yeah, well, we made out. Y'all see how that's always her default answer? I'm going to tell y'all something else about white girls. Whenever white girls say they made out with someone, they slept with them. They just say made out to try to make it seem better because it's ambiguous. What does making out really mean? Does that mean you just kissed each other? Does that mean you fondled each other? Does that mean you had oral? And let me tell you guys something else. Girls don't consider oral sex. So a girl will tell you she never did anything with a guy and the whole time he put his kids down her gullet. Or she had his penis down her throat. But she won't bring that up because in her head, well, that's not sex. I thought you were asking if I had sex with the guy. He didn't clap my cheeks. He just banged my throat. And they're not going to tell you that part. But let's continue.
So what I have is that it was an off work day. You came in, asked him to come over to help you work on something.
Yeah.
Asked him to come over. Keep that in the back of your head.
He came over. And then there was a that was given, and then he went back to work, and you went home.
Look, what did she say? He said, and then there was a BJ that was given, and then he went home and you went back to work. And she said, we made out. There was oral sex. That's a BJ, you goofball. She knows exactly what he's talking about. She knows a BJ is oral sex. Everybody knows white people call. And for those of you who can't put BJ together, I'm going to say it one time so that way I don't get flabbed. I'm just going to say it once. It's a blowjob. All right? That's what the people from the Caucasus Mountains call it. So she knew this. She knows he's saying, did you give him head? She's trying to hold out and spin around and two-step. Well, we made out. I mean, well, there was oral sex. And that's a BJ. You see how they are? You got to ask the same question 6 times to get a somewhat truthful answer, guys. This is what you have to do. And this is with all women. This ain't even with a white woman. This is with all of them. You have to ask the same question 6 times and you'll get little pieces of the truth. She could have ended this whole conversation 5 minutes ago by just saying yes, because that's what she did. But she wanted to play mind games and skip around and go ring around the rosy, hoping he'd just leave it alone or get tired of asking the question and she don't got to admit to what she did. That's how they operate. But let's continue.
Me and my husband, we've been going through a lot, and I just...
Uh-oh, here it goes. Here comes the, save me a fist of those white woman tears. Here it goes. Now she was going through something with her husband. All right, now did she go to marriage counseling to try to work it out? Nope. Did she talk to him about it? Nope. How did she even divorce him before she decided to go out here and get her back blown out? Nope. She ran right into the arms of another man. But let's continue.
Does he know about any of this? Okay. So,
Of course he doesn't know about any of this. You think she's going to tell the truth? She wouldn't even tell you she gave the dude a BJ. You had to ask her 5 times.
I don't talk to spouses. I can't talk about anybody else, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't talk to spouses. I said to you last Friday, as I said to every single other person I've spoken to, what you do outside of work, I don't care. I don't even judge. When it comes to work, that's why we're here, because this has come to work.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Now, I guarantee you if this was in reverse and there was a man doing this, he'd be snitching. King Zesty would be snitching over there. Snap, crackle, and pop over there. He'd be snitching. But because this is the husband, the hell with the husband, nobody cares about the husband. He's barely being mentioned in all this. That man probably 5 seconds from going Chris Benoit in this whole damn situation. There ain't nobody bringing him up. We need to be checking his mental health. Because he getting roasted too. But anyways, let's continue.
So I'm not calling your husband. I'm not communicating with anybody else's spouse.
Neither am I.
That is up to you. But I would like to know all of the details about Sergeant Powell, because I know a lot.
We've had sex a lot.
Look, she says, so we've had sex a lot. After she already said, so I gave him a BJ. So I called him and asked him to come over. At no point, guys, have you heard, I was tricked, I was manipulated, I was forced, I was threatened. They told me they were going to fire me. Any of that crap that she was saying beforehand, you haven't heard any of that. Everything was consensual until she got embarrassed. So we've had sex a lot.
Just been here for me. I was there for him.
He's just been there for her. Guys, you already know. A shoulder to cry on is a dick to ride on. It's been that way forever. That's another gym. Let's continue.
His wife just doesn't want to have sex with him. Me and my husband were kind of on the verge of a divorce.
Kind of on the verge of a divorce, but not fully divorced. You just said, hell with it. You already checked out. I want you guys to realize before she was saying her husband was having problems. Now she's saying they were on the verge of the divorce. They were not on the verge of the divorce. They're still not divorced. What happened is she checked out mentally and didn't say anything. Guys, what you will realize a lot of the times is people will check out in relationships and they won't say a goddamn word. And rather it be somebody wants to stay for the kids or somebody wants to stay so they don't get divorced, raped, or whatever the case may be. People will smile in public. They'll take their little pictures. Behind closed doors, they are mentally checked out. And women are queens of this. They'll post their little photos with the matching pajamas and all this. Have a whole nother side dude behind closed doors. They've been checked out of that goddamn situation. But they don't want to leave because you're paying all the bills. Or they don't want to leave because they don't want to break up the family. They don't want to leave for whatever reason. You got good benefits. Who knows? We were kind of divorced. We were having problems at home. But you're still not divorced. Now, some of this is on the husband. All right? Because by now, he damn sure should have divorced her ass and he still hasn't. So some of this is his stupidity. But at the end of the day, she's checked out. In her head, I'm already done. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm done. She's checked out. Let's get ready to wrap this up.
I just cracked and then it just kind of got out of hand.
Okay. When did it start?
That was a while ago. I can't put an exact number on it.
This year, last year?
It was this year.
Okay. When did it end? Or has it ended?
No, yeah, it has. It was probably a month or two ago.
Okay.
I think it's 2 months. Yeah, it was 2 months ago.
It hasn't ended. You can tell by the hesitation when he asked that. It hasn't ended. She was still doing it.
You know, Sergeant Powell, where did it happen on duty?
I just gave him in the substation.
I just gave him a BJ in the substation. He didn't force me to give him the BJ. He didn't groom me into giving him the BJ. He didn't threaten my job for the BJ. He didn't force me my head down to give him the BJ. I just gave him the BJ in the substation because he was there for me when I complained about how my husband's a piece of crap, but I won't leave him for whatever reason. Go figure.
Substation.
Substation. Okay.
Inside.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a foot fetish? Do you send pictures of your feet to people?
Oh. Shout out to the toe folks. Oh, man.
Ty does.
Ty has a foot fetish. And so he would ask you for pictures of your feet. Did you send pictures of your feet to Seneca?
She said, I may have. That means she did it. You see how everything's ambiguous with women? Do you like him? Oh, he's cool. Have you ever messed around with him? Oh, we made out. What does making out mean? Like we kissed and stuff. Did you give him a BJ? I don't know about all that. I mean, we had oral sex. Everything's ambiguous, man. Because they got to give themselves a way to backpedal out of every goddamn thing. It's insane. It's never going to be a straight answer. You better be good at reading between the lines. Or just not caring. Because if you care, you're going to have to read between the lines. But let's continue.
I know I didn't tie.
Unfold the whole.
She said, I know I did to Ty. So she doesn't even know if she said anything to Seneca, but she knows she said it to Ty. But Ty groomed her and Ty took advantage of her and all this other crap. Okay.
Start to finish with Ty.
I mean, we've been close forever.
We've been close forever. Mind you, she admitted to knowing Ty before she even started working there. But she claimed he used his position of power over her to force her to do things that she doesn't want to do. How could that be the case if she knew the man before she even started working there? So what was he using back when y'all was about to have that threesome before you even got the job? I digress. Let's continue.
Multiple times would say, use me, if you ever want to have sex, use me.
She said, I multiple times would say, use me. If you ever want to have sex, use me. How in the world is that using your position of power to influence to do things she wants to do? At no point in this entire conversation still has she ever said the words no. The only time we've heard no is still from her husband. How is that being groomed? How is that being abused? How is that being taken advantage of? I told y'all in the interview she gives, she's going to contradict everything she just said in that other interview. Because this was before she was ashamed. This is how they talk behind closed doors when no one knows about it. But once everybody knows about it, now I'm a victim.
Exactly like that. He would always just talk about me like that. And I put it off for a long time. We've only had sex twice. And we would send pictures back and forth.
Now she said we only had sex twice. Then before that, she said we had sex a lot and was talking about use me. You see how she's all over the damn place? Dude, imagine having a conversation with women and you don't record it. This is why it's frustrating. Because this is how they talk in real life. They contradict the hell out of themselves. Then they'll say they didn't say something that they just said. And then they'll say these oblivious things and stuff slides out of their mouth and they done forgot what the hell they said. And they start gaslighting, I didn't say that. And I'm not necessarily meaning this. Imagine having a conversation without recording it. If this was recorded, was never out, and you would have watched the interview beforehand, you would have thought that, this was the big bad wolf. And he's like, well, if you don't do this, you're going to get fired. And he is shoving her down on tables and, all types of foul stuff. You listen to this interview, and this is a completely consensual relationship. This is insane. It's insane, man. Let's wrap this thing up.
Touch everything.
It's been a lot.
Yeah.
Still seeing your counselor?
Yeah, I went yesterday, or actually I went today.
Still being honest?
Yeah, he's helping me.
Good.
I'm about to go to couples counseling.
Now you want to go to couples counseling. He talking about something you still be honest. Because he knows she's a liar. Guys, listen. Like I said, this supports everything that I tell you guys all of the time. All of the goddamn time, man. It'll all be fine and dandy until a situation comes up where now the reputation is ruined. Now words done got about. Now she looks like a whore, or now she feels like a whore. Now she feels like a thought, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call it. It's a whatchamacallit, whatever you want to call it. Now she's going to do the 360 flip on your ass and say you took advantage of her. If we didn't have this interview, you know how many people would probably believe her? I mean, this is legit insane. And she lies with a straight face. I told y'all women to be crying, lying their ass off. They look you dead in your eye and be lying their ass off. Just not telling the truth. Just not telling the truth. But y'all brothers don't want to listen to me. I told y'all, white women, biggest freaks in America. But you better be careful because they will hit your ass with the charge. Oh no, Alex, you capping for the Latin women, you capping for the black women, you capping for the Asian women. And snow queens, no matter what, they still better than the other women. Yeah, now when these three brothers get hit with that charge, we'll see if y'all still feel that way. Because again, statistics show, had this been a Latin woman, had this been a black woman, this would have been over. They would have just took the L and faded off into obscurity. There's no way they would have went through all the extra stuff. The majority of the time, and the statistics show this, they ain't going to do that. But the white woman, she will 100% do that, especially if your ass is color. You Hispanic, we seen Poppy in there too. He was in there too. She like, oh yeah, I'm going to get some money off y'all asses. Y'all think y'all can do this to me? She went training day on them. Y'all think y'all can do this to me? To me? I got white woman tears. You think you can do this to me? You can't do this to me. You know who I am. But God, seriously, man. Proves everything I said. They're not going to take accountability. When it blows up in their face, it's always someone else's fault. When it blows up in their face, they were always taken advantage of. When put under pressure, they will lie right to your face. They're going to be disingenuous in conversation. The only way to really find out when a woman is lying or what she's done or hasn't done is to have a long conversation with her, actually pay attention to what she's talking to, and piece together when she tells on herself. This woman lied throughout this entire interview, and she lied throughout the first interview. She's literally a pathological liar. It's insane. But all this for a piece of V-Box. For a piece of V-Box for someone with no lips. No concern for the husband. Someone please check on the husband. Because just when this story died, it was going away. Now she decides to do a lawsuit. Now she done put it right back in the news. The poor damn cuck. I mean, my God. Somebody say something for her husband, man. We worry about her mental health. We need to be worried about the mental health of the husband. But that's my thoughts on this, man. The thought cop ain't taking no accountability. This is episode 1,102 of women not taking accountability in general. But I am Alex Shaw, and I am out. Peace. Y'all mess with these white girls at your own risk, man. I done warned you.